Okay, please off the mic. Okay, let's take a look. We are in the verse number 164 class. Basically, we are in the 6th pyramid. So we already finished the first 5 pyramid. Now we are in the 6th pyramid. Okay, we are in the area, regards to conventional truth and ultimate truth. But today, we are going to explore the most difficult part in this chapter. Basically, most of the teachers, they are not so daring to really to explain this part. Well, it's really, how good I can let you understand. Number one is depends on my ability to talk in English. Second is, I think not much problem with the Dharma. But thirdly is depends how smart you are. If you finish, you all can understand, meaning to say that we fulfill all the condition and you all are smart also. Okay. So we'll go through later on. Then you try to challenge, see how difficult is it. Okay, let's take a look. Okay. But anyway, I'm quite confident you all can go through the challenge. Okay, so let's take a look. Now the verse as regards verse number 164 is everything that is conventionally established in the world can be recognized by name and speech consciousness. Name perception things are conventional, but the conventionally true and false should be skillfully differentiated. So class, we are in this verse. Before this, class, do you remember that you answered very well regarding the prajnati signature, prajnati destination, prajnati perception, and the prajnati things. You all can understand very well. So from that part, actually, you still go back to, he mentioned that we haven't finished yet, because the language, the name we use, all are considered conventional truth. Like what I said, prajna. Okay, prajna itself is true, but I'm using the language to pinpoint it, so we consider it as a conventional truth is still okay. But anyway, in the Dharma Sutra, it keep on mentioning that we say once you try, once you reach, the soul by using a boat, okay, please don't carry the boat on the shore. You should just discard. You should discard the boat. Like we are using the language, okay, to understand the Nibbana. Once we reach the Nibbana, you have to forget the language. Because if you carry the language to the Nibbana, the language itself will become the obstacle. Okay, class? That's the meaning. Okay, it's not very hard to understand. So let's take a look. In the verse, this verse we say ordinary knowledge is established through the conventions. All right. The mind, specifically name and speech consciousness, perceive the thing. So we need to say that we are communicating, we are using the language, the words. So I think why the Dharma Sutra and Sutra always keep on mentioning this point is the reason is they're worrying that we are over study literally the Dharma. Over study. Okay, you see our class, we need the knowledge to guide us that there is something like a Nibbana, but sometimes we will over study. I think the good example is the scholar in university. Basically, they study a lot of Dharma, but they don't really put into the practice. Okay, like what Ajahn Chah prefer to use the analogies regards this. Let's take a look. This is the analogy. Ajahn Chah, not the durian. This is the previous lesson. Okay. So he used this analogy. There's a spoon in the soup. Okay, you see, once you soak the spoon inside the soup, the spoon itself never tastes the taste of the soup. Okay, if let's say we just study academically without really practice the Dharma, just like a spoon soak on the soup, not the durian. So the durian is for the last lesson one. Not the durian. It's about the spoon. Okay, so we must try to avoid for being the spoon. Okay, so that's why we always talk about the literature study. Okay, then we come to the last one. Okay, this acknowledgement of them as real within the ordinary Dharma of the world is called the ordinary truth of the world. So meaning to say that we still recognize that, I mean, the knowledge to pinpoint the thing, we still acknowledge them. We call it as an ordinary truth. Because if you don't recognize the ordinary truth, you will confusing yourself. Get it? Okay. For example, you have to be punctual. Once you're working, that's the ordinary truth. Okay. So this is the spectacle. This is the mouse. We can't say that, oh, since I understand the ultimate truth, so I said mouse is a spectacle. Spectacle is a mouse. Oh, this is very confusing now. Sometimes I don't know whether you discover somebody, they keep on mentioning and say, okay, about good is the bad, bad is the good. Have you ever discovered this type of the Dharma friend? Some they talk like this, right? They say, no, good is the bad, bad is the good. No much difference between good and bad. Oh, so it's very confusing. If in the ordinary truth, of course, if you analyze the thing to the finest part, all is the same one. But once you're in the ordinary truth, there is a difference. Okay, okay. Now, next paragraph, please, Sally, can you please read it out on the other hands?
Sifu, we finished this already. We're up to 166.
166 already. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got the wrong paragraph. 166. I don't really. Let me check. 166. I don't really. Okay, 166. Okay, Sally, can you please read it out? Okay.
Read.
Read it out, please.
Suffering comes from confusion and karma, which comes from discrimination. Discrimination evolves from
Sorry, Sally. So many noise. Okay, the noise gone already. Just now, so noisy. Noisy again.
Oh, I think downstairs they are seeing TV. You hold on, I just call them to turn down a bit.
Never mind, Elena, you read it out first. Okay, suffering.
Suffering comes from confusion and karma, which comes from discrimination. Discrimination evolves from meaningless elaboration. Meaningless elaboration can be eliminated by the contemplation of emptiness. Extraordinary contemplation means seeking the inherent nature of all things, and in reliance upon that contemplation, realizing extraordinary truth. This investigation of the truth is the only door to liberation. That from which one is liberated is suffering. Suffering is the essence of sentient beings, bodies, and mind, which arises from making contact with things. Why do sentient beings suffer? Why do they transmigrate through cycles of birth and death? They do so because of confusion and karma. Karma arises from confusion. Confusion is ignorance, which primarily means having the affliction of the view of the eye and mind. A sutra says, ignorance is caused by deviant thinking. This ignorance comes from erroneous discriminations. Sentient beings discriminate erroneously and do not know the truth because of meaningless elaboration. Erroneous discrimination arises in dependence upon phenomena. When it arises, one intuitively feels that the object is real, that it exists as an entity just as it appears, that it is unrelated to the mind's discrimination, and so forth. This is not only an illusion of the erroneous discrimination. In ordinary people's mind, the object seems to be present as it appears. This is the source of fundamental error and is not in harmony with reality. If that which is recognized really existed as an entity the way it appears, then it would not be in accord with one's practical experiences or one's knowledge of principles. which means that no worldly and world transcending things could be established. That which is not but appears to be is meaningless elaboration and the mind's discrimination. Perception through name and speech cannot realize its own error.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, class. Well, for this a few paragraphs are not much facts, okay, but just a few terminology to remember. Class, take a look. You see, karma arises from confusion. Confusion is ignorance. Okay, ignorance is caused by deviant thinking. So meaning to say that basically, once I mean in the Dharma, it's quite consistent that if people ask you why there is karma rebirth and die, how one day is a karma rebirth and die. The karma rebirth is due to the ignorance. Okay, so ignorance itself is due to what? Ignorance itself, sometimes we say it as erroneous discrimination. What does it mean, erroneous discrimination? You see, once we talk about anicca, dukkha, anatta, you need to say this is the right view. If we see things oppositely, which is dukkha, you see it as a happiness. Okay, from dukkha you see it as happiness. Non-self you see it as a self. Okay, then impermanent you saw it as a permanence. So that is we call it as erroneous discrimination. And basically, erroneous discrimination will start creating all the karma, and this is happening now, lah. So class are basically, let's say how you see, class are basically even though we keep on mentioning that, oh, everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta, but if let's say one day I provide you a red tablet, so after you consume the tablet, so your whole family member, you see they are just like an atom and molecule keep on breaking, and you accept, okay, then all your favorite keep on looks anicca, dukkha, anatta, it's just like an atom keep on breaking. Okay, so is there anyone will take the tablet immediately? Can you put up your hand? Just when you take the tablet, the way you see everything is like an atom keep on breaking. Would you like to take the tablet now? See, no people daring to take, you see, even though in Dharma, we keep on saying that, oh, we should practice Vipassana, you see, we need to say that, class, we are not ready yet. Am I right? We are not ready because now we feel so good with the body. comfortable with the body. The family member we used to with them, all right. So everywhere with a meal, make us happy, okay. So on the MCO, we all start keep on our habit and favorite. I see how we start do our own thing. So you say everything is impermanence. Then finally, we need to say that we don't know where to put our mind to, right? Nothing to cling to, you see. So meaning to say that we are all in the erroneous view. But class, anyway, you have to study the Dharma so that once you really go to meditation, once you're able to see the thing happen, you will be ready for it. You will be ready for that. Okay. See or not, even though Mr. Leong not daring to put up his hand and say, yes, I want the tablet. You see, even he himself also not daring, you see. What for Sally and Elena? Yeah, Mr. Leong, any question? Yes. You are frozen. You are unfrozen again. Please off the camera and speaking. Off the camera, please. Yeah, speak, please.
This earnest discrimination can be related as a wrong view or wrong thinking, wrong understanding.
Yes. All is quite same the thing in English the put it it's quite similar. Okay, no problem. You can put it. Okay. So this paragraph are not much thing. Okay. So now we go to the next one. Yeah, Sally, your turn to read. If one investigates.
If one investigates inherent nature correctly, analyzing it layer by layer to expose its ultimate existence, one will discover that there is no real inherent nature. All things that are without an inherent nature is the reality of all things. By relying on the contemplation of emptiness, which does not pose it an inherent nature, one can eliminate meaningless elaboration to one's continuous practice. After meaningless elaboration is eliminated, erroneous description will not arise because it will have lost its object. When the mind's discrimination stops, prajna will arise. Then one will no longer have confusion or create more karma. Because of this, the body that suffers will no longer continue, and one is liberated. The liberation of stages is attained by relying on the contemplation of emptiness. Herein lies the reason that Buddha speaks of the three gates of liberation as emptiness, formless, and desirelessness.
Okay, yeah. So let's try to finish first.
This paragraph finished already, as before.
Yeah, no. Let's digest this first. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, again, class, for this paragraph, just to remember a few terminologies. One is regards no real inherent nature. No real inherent nature. I think you all pusing kepala lah, because it is literally translated from the Mandarin. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, class, in Mahayana, if we call inherent nature, meaning to say that something it happened without cause and condition. Okay, by itself, okay, it is without inherent nature. That is the meaning it said. So once the thing, actually, there's only one thing is without any inherent nature. By itself is a true, is a reality, only nibbana only. Okay, but we always have a wrong perception, that meaning to say that everything is impermanence, everything is by its inherent nature. So this requires a wrong perception. Okay, well, this is a few terminologies just to take care about. Let's take a look. Number one is a meaningless elaboration. Once we see the words elaboration, we thought, hey, we're talking right? Class, no. Here, the elaborations, I mean, the meaning is so profound that without a meaningless elaboration, meaning to say that the tendency to create greedy, hatred, and stupidity. Not just nonsense talking. No. Meaningless elaboration. I mean, if you just judge, you thought, oh, meaningless talking, nonsense. No, actually, it's not nonsense. It means the tendency to create a greedy, anger, and stupidity. Why? How can I say so? Plus, just take a look. You see, if let's say a meaningless elaboration eliminated, erroneous discrimination will not arise. Erroneous discrimination meaning to say it's a wrong will. You see, a no wrong will, then prajna will arise. See or not? So meaning to say, if this is if this is nonsense, how come it will relate to the prajna? It wouldn't, right? Nonsense just very, it's a very, how to say, it's a very simple thought meaning. No longer have confusion and create more karma. So the confusion itself is the ignorance, you see. Then because of this, the body suffer will no longer continue, because you stop reincarnation, no more suffer in the body. Then it's attained, liberation of sages is attained by relying on the contemplation of emptiness, you see. By contemplating the emptiness, you will able to attain. What does that mean? Class, basically, if you remember that this is the pagoda, let's take a look. The pagoda, the top is the nibbana, and the lowest part is the prajna. Okay. Once we talk about the contemplation of the emptiness, it's about this level already, class. It's about this level. It's quite near to the top of the pagoda, but it's this part. So meaning to say that the Diamond Sutra keep on mentioning the state. It relates to this part. If basically the Jing Gang Jing, Diamond Sutra assume that you understand number 3 and number 4, the middle of the body of the pagoda. They assume you understand, but basically most of the people they don't have. That's why you see people like Mahayana, they keep on chanting all the Diamond Sutra and the Heart Sutra. Okay, every word you understand, but you combine all, you think, you know what does it mean about? Maybe the beginning you feel quite curious, but later on after the chanting you found that it doesn't really helpful a lot. Why? Because in the pagoda it is quite near to the top part, and you assume you understand the body. You see, so now we try to to chip in the body so that we make the pagoda more obvious. Okay, so we need to say that the contemplation of emptiness is in this part, and the 3 gate you see here you see the 3 gate of liberation: emptiness, formlessness, and desirelessness. They are all in this part. 3 gate, meaning to say that basically it depends on your capability. Some people they start to contemplate the namarupa through the emptiness. Through emptiness. Some they go in through the desirelessness, and some is a formlessness. It depends. So this is all we call it in the one words, vipassana. Vipassana, especially the profound vipassana, we have to really go through that. Okay, then next, let's take a look. Okay, so we finish this. Now we go to the type called contemplation of the twofold emptiness. Okay. All right. Elena, your turn to read, please.
The contemplations of twofold emptiness. Verse 167, all things arise from causes and conditions. What arises conditionally is empty, without an inherent nature. Being empty, all things are neither born nor extinct, but are always in perfect stillness. Whatever arises in the discriminating mind has the appearance of reality. How then can one know that what arises is meaningless elaboration, not in harmony with reality? Because the reality of everything is not in harmony with one's actual experience, it is impossible to prove that each thing is real. Thus, the Buddha proclaimed the Dharma of dependent origination to explain that all things, from the external world to the body and the mind, from the vast universe to the smallest dust particle, arise from causes and conditions. In other words, everything does not exist by itself, but is determined by the relationship of causes and conditions. Everything follows the law of when this exists, that exists. When this arises, that arises. When this expires, that expires. When this ceases, that ceases. If we depart from all these pragmatic experiences, then none of the principles of cause and effect can be discussed. Never mind talking about the realization of the truth of everything. All that arises from causes and conditions, whether from a prior, subsequent, or simultaneous relationship, illustrates that everything is without an independent nature. Inherent here means self-existence and self-created. Whatever is real should be independent and self-existent. If a phenomenon is dependent on and determined by causes and conditions, it cannot be said to exist as it is without relation to other phenomena. That which is real, self-existent, and independent would also have to exist permanently. If a phenomenon were truly independent from causes and conditions, then it would be impossible to account for changes originating from the entity itself. Hypothetically, if a phenomenon is able to change, then it is not a unique self-entity. Changeability indicates that phenomena actually arise from causes and conditions and do not exist by virtue of their own inherent nature. Contemplating the interdependent existence of all things, one can see that they cannot be self-existent, independent, or permanently existing, and also that they are not real as they appear to be to the discriminating mind.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, class, take a look. We have finished this sentence, this paragraph yet. Okay, class, well, please take a look to the diagram, dependent originations. Let's take a look. So this is the dependent origination. Okay, from here, we understand that one day is ignorance, so the mental formation will arise. Once the mental formation exists, then the consciousness will arise. One day is a consciousness, then the mind and the matter will arise. You see, okay. So same likewise, once ignorance disappeared, then the mental formation disappeared. When the mental formation disappeared, then the consciousness will disappear, and so on. So that is we call it as a rule of independent origination. This is so important. Okay, why it is relates to us? Class, let's take a look. You see, this is the consciousness. The consciousness pinpoint either you are as a human, maybe in the sixth realm. Actually, the consciousness pinpoint sixth realm of the reincarnation. So why we become a human? Because in past life, okay, in the past life, our mental formation create the karma and make us become a human. Okay, if let's say we are Dewa this life, meaning to say that our past life karma, the karma we create, which is more determined, will be the jhana karma. See, so this is why we say this is so important. All is a cause and condition. But now we want to introduce one word: inherit. Inherit meaning to say it is self-create, self-exist without any cause and condition. Okay, for us, especially like a being, you and I, we are subject to the cause and condition. We are exist here. Why? Because there is an ignorance and also with the attachment. So we are here, you see, and then we get our body. So we are subject to the cause and condition. But here, class, Mahayana, I mean, for this Madhyamika, emptiness, always keep on mention that emptiness is try to, it's really, it's an opposite side, it's a count, it's try to breaking the concept of self-created or inherent. So class, please forget, the Cambridge dictionary, the definition from the Cambridge dictionary regards the inherent. Am I right? Inherent doesn't mean self-create or self-exist in English, right? In English, it means other thing, right? So you forget the English dictionary definition. You have to readjust yourself that inherent means self-create. Self-create means what? It is without any cause and condition. But until now, am I right, class? Everything is cause and condition. Am I right? Until now, we can't say anything which is not depends on the cause and condition. Everything is except the nibbana. But here he said, we want to tell you there's a one wrong view which is inherent. Okay, so this is the paragraph he want to mention to us. So class, take a look. You see so it mentioned, now you see when this exists and that exists, one that this arises, that arises. Okay, Mr. Leong, do you remember the Pali? How is the Pali for this verse or these verses? This is so famous to explain Paticca Samuppada. Please.
Sorry, again, what's the question, Sifu?
The question is, what is the Pali in this sentence? When this exists, that exists. when this arises, that arises a blah, blah, blah. This is the important rules and regulation, independent origination.
Sorry, the Sifu, I don't.
You don't know the Pali?
Sorry, I don't know the Pali sentence.
Okay, never mind, it's okay. Okay. Don't worry, we will forgive you.
This one comes from the sutta.
Yeah, it's very famous. In Mandarin, we call it 持有不彼有，只生不彼生. It's so famous. I mean, the phrase. Okay. Okay, and then maybe let me try to find a little bit. It is quite important things. Okay. Nidana. It sounds familiar. Okay. Pratitya samutpada. Okay. Let's see first. See whether am I able to get it for you or not. E-learning program. Okay, never mind. So we just ignore it. Okay. Okay, class, let's take a look. Okay. Then this is the most important. The inherent, I mentioned already. Okay. Then there's one more word, we replaced inherent is the self-entity. Okay. Basically, class, self-entity, inherent, all are considered as wrong will. The opposite is the changeability, dependent origination, okay, cause and condition. That is to be correct as the right will. Okay. So everything is a changeability. It should be correct. Everything is a changeability. Okay, now next paragraph. Okay, whose turn to read? Mr. Lam, would you like to try? Let's check so that we can feel that you are exists. Anything.
Sifu, my line is breaking off very often.
Okay, so let Sally read for you.
Anything that is without an inherent nature, but that appears to be self-assistent, is an illusory, meaningless elaboration. That which is without an inherent nature is called empty by Buddha. Emptiness and nothingness have some similarities in the Chinese language, but they are different in Sanskrit. Nothingness means being without anything, while emptiness means that a nature inherent unto itself is unattainable. That is, there is no inherent nature. All things that are without an attainable inherent nature can be established only in an ordinary and worldly sense. Such existence is conventionally designed. Emptiness does not hinder the existence of the conventionally designated. Sorry. Being empty, a thing existent is conventionally designated and arises from causes and conditions having conventionally designated existence arising from causes and conditions. A thing is empty without inherent nature. The contemplation of dependent origination, absence of inherent nature, emptiness, and conventional designation are different investigations of the same thing. In fact, they are all the same. So it is said, all things that arises from causes and conditions are explained as emptiness. As conventional designation, and also the meaning of the middle way. Relying on this kind of investigation, one can see that all conventionally established worldly things are like this, having existence and non-existence, birth and extinction. They continue from the past to the future and indirectly relate to each other. These are all things of reality. When one profoundly contemplates the basic principle of all things to emptiness, one knows that they exist conventionally, without an independent nature. All existence and non-existence, all birth and death, are neither real existence nor their real non-existence. Neither real birth or non-real birth. Death.
Thank you so much. You notice or not? It seems the text keep on lingering with the same.
Yeah.
Am I right? I thought maybe something wrong with the translation. Like in Mandarin, I don't see so bad. Okay, never mind, I will jump over it. Okay, just keep on lingering the same thing. But this is the most difficult part of class, frankly speaking. Okay, class, here maybe we'd like to emphasize is the nothingness and emptiness. Basically, people will confuse between nothingness and the emptiness. So class, you see, nothingness means nothing, right? So simple. Emptiness means what? Means it is based on condition. Meaning to say that it is not inherent or it is not a self entity. Okay, so that we have to know the difference. So we say, oh, it is emptiness, meaning to say that it is based on the condition. So it exists based on the cause and condition. Plus, for the Madhyamika, now we are in the school of emptiness. It mentioned that emptiness is so important. Due to the emptiness, due to everything is cause and condition, so there will be the sage and there will be a mandate. Okay, why? Because once the mandate keep on working, changing the condition, they will become a sage, you see. So there is a hope for the mandate to become a sage, you see. So it's due to the emptiness, so everything is keep on changing. And finally, even though the Nibbana itself also is the emptiness. Okay, so now we go to the next paragraph again. Okay, okay, in spite of, yes, Elena, your turn now.
In spite of the fact that birth and extinctions are infinitely variable and insistent, since they are empty without an independent nature of their own, all things are conventionally born and conventionally become extinct. They are neither really born nor really extinct. Originally, all things are neither born nor extinct and are always abiding in absolute stillness. This explanation does not separate non-birth and non-extinctions from birth and extinction, but rather points directly to the essence of birth and extinction, whose true nature is neither born nor extinct. Thus, even though all things in the world appear to be born and become extinct continuously and with endless cures, they are actually always in perfect stillness. The essence of cures is stillness. One cannot talk about cures as something separate from stillness. Thus, relying on the Dharma of dependent origination, one seeks that one which is without an inherent nature. Then, through extraordinary contemplation, one gradually uncovers the real nature of all things. As one sutra describes it, all things are without an independent nature of their own. They are neither born nor extinct. Because they are neither born nor extinct, they are fundamentally still and quiet. Nirvana is their inherent nature. Or verse 168, a thing cannot arise by itself or through another. It cannot arise from the two together or without cause. Contemplating the empty nature of things, one can know that no thing has ever arisen. Through their extraordinary contemplation in which all things are empty, without an independent nature, bodhisattvas examine everything extensively. Relying on infinite skillful methods for their investigations, they thoroughly understand the absence of inherent nature. The broad explanation of this investigation includes two main methods: the contemplation of things being empty and the contemplation of self being empty. Things mainly refer to conventional things and includes conventional perceptions and that which is conventionally designated. The self, which is one type of conventional perception, is the union of the body and mind taken as an individual sentient being.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Okay, class, take a look. Yeah, from this paragraph, you see how all things are without an independent nature of their own. They are neither born nor extinct. Class of okay. Remember, we got a conventional truth and ultimate truth. If in the ultimate truth, you can say that, meaning to say that we don't bother whether this exists or not exists. They are quite same only. I mean, they are same in the nature, which is from the aspect of the ultimate truth. Basically, only Nibbana itself is inherent, but the rest, there must be cause and condition to make them exist. Okay. Then next is regarding 168. Okay, rely on this Bodhisattva using two skills to investigate. One is contemplating being empty, and contemplation of the self being empty. Basically, class of self is the union between the mind and the matter. So Bodhisattva able to contemplate they are empty, meaning to say that we ourselves is the combination of the mental, mind, and the matter. Okay, is it understand? Then second is the contemplate the thing itself. So meaning to say we analyze ourselves to the finest particle, so we notice that they are cause and condition to exist, to make it exist. Okay. Now we go to the next paragraph again. Okay, now we go to the contemplation of thing being empty. Okay, yes, whose turn to read? Please, Sally, right? The most concise method. Sally, you have it on the mic yet?
Okay, sorry. The contemplation of things being empty. The most concise method of contemplating the emptiness of things is to contemplate the four kinds of non-arising. Things exist, but ordinary people cling to them by thinking that they either really exist or really do not exist. The Buddha expounded on the contemplation of impermanence of arising and extinction. Non-existence leads to existence, and existence leads to non-existence. Some people think that things really arise and pass. However, they cling to the inherent nature of arising and passing as real. That this is the exact opposite of neither arising nor passing nature of emptiness of things. This is why the Dharma of the great vehicle relies on non-arising of causes and conditions as an important method to reveal the true meaning of the Buddha Dharma and to dispel the erroneous attachments of ordinary people, non-Buddhist practitioners of the small vehicle who still have something to attain, and practitioners of the great vehicle. If Dharma that is grasped by sentient beings as real does exist, it must also arise. How it is that it arises? How does it exist? There is only two categories of arising, with causes and conditions and without them. Arising with causes and conditions has three subtypes: self-arising, arising from another, and mutual arising. So in total, there are four types. Self-arising means to arise and to be constituted by itself. Arising from another means to arise in reliance upon others. It also means that whatever arises really arises. Mutual arising means that although the entity itself exists by itself, it needs other factors to enable it to arise. Although different schools supply their own explanations, all posit these four types. Relying on the right principles of investigation, one can see that anything with real inherent nature could not possibly arise in any of the following ways.
Okay, thank you so much, Sally.
Welcome.
Okay, class, I can quite confirm mention to you that the translator has skipped a part. Okay, well, I think maybe I have to really go back to you. I have to, add in for you. I can understand that part is so difficult to translate. Okay. Okay, class, let's take a look. Let me try to explain. As long as you study Mahayana, you will notice that there's 3 schools to interpret how the karma exists and how to eradicate the karma. Okay, basically, the establishment of a karma, there is 3 ways to establish the karma. One day is karma. One day is the establishment of the karma. Then there will be establishment of eradication of the karma, which will, lead for the nibbana. Okay, so class, let's take a look. I've got 2 examples. You see which one the level is high. Have you ever heard about Zen 5 Patria and the 6 Patria? Heard about that? Zen school? Heard about that? Okay, so the story mentioned, okay, the teacher tried to, try to look for a best student in order to as a successor. Okay, so the 5 Patria, he tried to come across, he said, okay, the body itself is the body tray. Our mind is just like a mirror. You have to keep on polishing it so that the dust will not be accumulated on the mirror. And and then the body nature, the Buddha nature will appear. So this is the case number 1. Okay, let's take a look to the case number 2. He said, there is no existence of the body tray. There's no existence of the mirror. There's nothing actually. Where does the dust accumulate to? Which one level is high? Class, please choose, you think? Okay, Mr. Leong put number 2, right? Okay, number 2, Mr. Leong. Okay, yeah, Sally number 2. Elena still thinking which one to bet on. Okay, how? Okay, yeah, okay, maybe, okay, number 1. Why, Elena, you don't vote? Why? On the mic, please.
I'm still confused.
Confused,
I'm getting more confused.
Getting more confused, yes. Never mind, we enjoy confusing you. Okay. How about Mr. Leong? Why do you choose number 2? Why, Mr. Leong? Off the camera and explain, Mr. Leong.
Because we do not have any inherent nature, so we do not self. We should have non-self, so it doesn't exist. The body tree as well as doesn't exist the mirror, and neither does the dust exist.
So the dust, no place to put. Actually, class, basically for this 2, number 1 is so-called as a conventional truth. It is true for everybody. Meaning to say that yes, there is a tree. Okay, there is a mirror. So we always keep the mirror clean. So meaning like our heart, right? Our mind, right? Our mind, if it's so dirty, always with the karma, we have to eradicate it. Okay, so it is right for most of the people, ordinary people. Okay, but if you are the sage, you will mention the second one. Why? Because the sage, from the point of view of the bodhisattva or the sage, they will say, there's no tree. Because of the way they see everything is cause and condition. There's no mirror, even the mirror itself also is a hallucination, you see. So he say, okay, there's nothing exists. There's nothing actually. There's nothing. We call it as a mirror and the body tree. If there's nothing as a mirror, where is the karma put to? Where does the dust accumulate? The dust, because the dust accumulate on the mirror, right? But if there's without mirror, how can we accumulate the dust? It's just like, you see, class. If you are the sage, for you, you will realize that our body and our mind is a union, but they are cause and condition. You see, for the sage, if let's say they create the karma, they try to do the killing, the action of killing itself is the anicca, dukkha, anatta. The animal they kill is the anicca, dukkha, anatta. And the action of kill also anicca, dukkha, anatta. For a sage, even they do so, there wouldn't be they wouldn't be they wouldn't be suffer even though the karma arises. Why? Is because they are able to see that no matter they're able to see the emptiness for all aspects, even though the feeling themselves also is the emptiness. So for them, they wouldn't feel suffering, even though they commit the killing. It's the same, even though they do the giving, there's the karma cannot control them because they're able to see everything is empty already. So this is this is for the stage number 2. But for us, we cannot apply it, even though conceptually, perceptionally, we understand that, oh, karma is impermanence, killing is also impermanence. But are you daring to kill, Sally? You're not daring to kill, right? Because we are not the sage. Meaning to say, if you do the karma of killing, even though we know everything by nature is cause and condition, but once the karma comes, we also feel suffer. Right? We feel suffer, right? Oh, the suffer itself is so real for you and I. We are talking only, we're just using the word verbally. We say that, oh, it is impermanence, but we feel so suffer, you see. So this is why Mr. Leong and Sally, they chose number 2. Number 2 level is more higher. So this is why the 5 patriarch, he chose second person as the 6th patriarch. That is a Hui Neng. He realized that, oh, this guy even is the best because he's able to see that, all things is impermanent, you see. So that's why the 6th patriarch Hui Neng, through chanting Diamond Sutra, he was able for enlightenment, you see. So Elena, so are you feeling not that confused already? On the mic, you are getting more confused.
More confused.
More confused. Oh, okay. So you see, so this is the part of, okay, class, what the translator skip is this 2 parts, Oh, he tried to skip this 2 parts. Once we talk about the madhyamaka, okay, emptiness is always the second choice we are mentioning. So it is from the perspective that everything is emptiness. Okay, but this is quite hard to understand, even though the karma itself is the emptiness, and you said the nibbana also emptiness, very hard to accept, right? But if you say nibbana itself is something so real, we are able to attain the nibbana. Okay, which one is acceptable to you? Can you work for me? Nibbana is something empty, or nibbana is something is so real we can attain it, which is more acceptable to you. Please vote. Okay, Elena, number 1. Sally, don't know what to vote. Okay. On the camera, please, for voting. Mr. Leong, Mrs. Leong, on the camera, please, for voting. Okay, number 2, right? Okay, okay, so you can fight to each other. So class meaning to say that both of you, nothing wrong. Okay, these 2 types of the thinking is exist. If you go to study the Surangama, you will notice that nibbana is something which is attainable. If you study the Surangama before, you wouldn't say that nibbana itself also is emptiness. If something is so abstract, nibbana is also emptiness. But if you say nibbana something is attainable, we feel good. Yeah, it can be attainable. So we need to say that actually there's, in the simple way, there's a 2 schools. One said that nibbana is emptiness. Second is nibbana is something which is attainable. Most people is acceptable is for the second one. Nibbana is something is attainable. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Leong, yeah. Any question? On the mic, please.
Before just now you said that Arahan can kill, but then the thing is, our nature is not to kill.
No. I just quote example only. I quote example only. I mean, sage able to see everything is emptiness. So even though they do it, but they won't subject to the karma penalized. Okay, do you get it? I just quote example only. Okay, because they're able to see everything is emptiness. But for we are, literally we understand it is. It is emptiness. Really, no, we don't. Okay, so we stop our class here, class. Okay, because the author tried to skip it because it's too hard to translate. In next lesson, Actually, the second choice, actually there's a two group within the second choice. Let me try to explain a little bit details. I'm doubt that whether the translator really skipped the whole part or not. In the second school, let me check it out, and I will try to conclude to you all. Okay, but you can understand what I mean, right? Am I right, Mr. Leong? Is this understandable? Understandable, what I mean, or understandable, something,
Yeah.
Okay. So